Welcome back to the, second quarter?
Second quarter.
Of the Bobby Dupre Show, and we took us a while. We actually broke for more than a minute, but you all don't feel that. You don't see that. You don't hear all that. Like my man would say, you don't perceive it. But anyhow, we are on the second quarter of the Bobby Dupre Show, along with my sidekick, Andrew.
Good morning.
And a couple of good sponsors, please.
Dixie Storage, all your storage needs, personal and commercial, throughout St. Leonard Parish, with access to the highways there around Washington, I-49, Highway 190 in Port Barre. They've got certified scales. If you've got trucks that you need to make sure that they're within the specs and meet all the weight requirements, they can. They've got railroad spur access where they can offload or onload onto the railroad for you. They've got plenty of storage if you're putting small things in small units, if you're looking for air conditioned units, if you're looking for power to plug your big RVs in, your boats in, and if you want to do full-blown warehouses, they have warehouses too. They'll even do inventory control for you, all at Dixie Storage. They've got a event center in Port Barre that handle 300 to 400 folks with a full-blown restaurant and lots of good parking on concrete like all the McCormick properties have. And A+ Glass, a sister company with locations in Opelousas and in Lafayette for all you commercial glass, personal glass, car glass, auto glass as well. And inspections for your cars from the littlest Toyota all the way up to the biggest 18-wheeler. And one more sponsor, how about Piggly Wiggly? Go by your local Piggly Wiggly, which I did on Sunday. Picked up a nice little 3-pound stuffed pork roast. Man, made a nice little gravy with that. And I also picked up some good stew meat, some beef stew meat, because you know, with that cool weather, nothing like a good beef stew when you're sitting back and eating a little rice and gravy and all. You know, and sometimes gumbo's good in cold weather, but sometimes you like the stew
that
too.
Cold weather, you can't find a hen
that's
in
right.
Acadiana.
That's right. So
especially, they tell me in Mamou, you can't find them, and they have a lot of Enville Platte.
As freezing cold as it was this weekend, I think it got down to 66, you know, but you had to get all that going. But go by your local Piggly Wiggly, all the great drinks and great food items, and they do all specialty meats themselves there in-house. A lot of houseware things, the Magnolite style pots, you know, that are made out of the God of Mamou, that gets those nice pots that I call them Magnolite, but they're not Magnolite brand, but they're made just like them. Go by, you can get those at your local Piggly Wiggly as well, with locations 2 in Opelousas and 1 in Simmsport.
I was trying to locate a picture. I know I took the picture. I've got left to right by Miss Corinne Randazza. She married a young man from the Brobridge, St. Martinville area, and she does everything around the church. She just is there helping out the priest, and I guess we could have talked longer with her, but she was holding the priest up. And but she did tell me that she was a member of the Red Jackets at SLI, and they are going to be having a kind of like a reunion, and they've rented a trolley car for their November 2nd homecoming, UL homecoming.
What were the Red Jackets? What did they do? Like a women's club?
Yeah,
supporting the football?
Supporting the football team, right. I said, well, did you know Kay Sellers, who became Kay Lazaro? She said, yeah. I said, well, we graduated together, and I said, she was a queen at UL. Of course, she was the Yambali queen here, Miss Opelousas queen. She's just a queen of a person, too. And she said, sure. And then that's when I met the Richardsons, Tanya, and her son, Jones, and her husband, Brian, was not there, but we wrote his name down, and he's the one that worked for LHC. And I apologize. I don't know what happened to the picture. It's not on Vicky. Vicky didn't send it, and I'll have to check with her, and it's not on mine. And by the way, we just updated
you went to the new version 7 on your Apple.
Version 7? I can tell people that now?
For sure, yeah.
Even though I've got an old one that's kind of worn and all?
But it looks like a brand new one now, you know?
Got a new facelift. Oh, it did get a facelift. And that was at the Vidalia Catholic Church, by the way, where all of this conversation. And by the way, Miss Corinne went to school with Mason Dupuis from our area, and the Dupuis kind of come from St. Martin, Cecilia, Brobridge area, and then Diane Lestraps, who married a Sabille. And of course, Diane Lestrapes is Dud Lestrapes' sister, so she was raised here in Opelousas. So if you all are listening, y'all have, I tell you what, Miss Corrine is just as energetic today as I'm sure she was when she was in the red jackets at SLI.
There you go. Now we're going to go back to the Southern Club party over at Toby's Little Lodge and show some more photos, and you're going to have to start naming some names here.
Okay, Sid Janice and our friend Kenny Morrow, and we figured that that would be Mike Dubrock.
Must be, yeah. And then on the right, Rod Bernard. It could go on forever right there.
That's right, and they played that song, just a little teeny bit of it the other night. That's a picture that I took with my little camera. And these were all musicians who, at one time or another, basically worked together.
And there's Warren Storm in the back.
Warren Storm, and there's another picture too. Jay Randall right up front.
There you go, Jay Randall.
And there should be a couple, maybe other pictures.
I got some of this. I got this lady here from
okay, she is with UL, and she's Jennifer Guidry, and I'll tell you what, I said, you have really spent some time working on this. She says, I will not quit until it's complete.
Go ahead, lady.
And so we thank you, and of course, there's Sid Johnny's talking with Rod. And he taught music in area schools for years and years and played with several bands. And this is Halloween decorations they set up the seasons every year. That's right there on Ambassador Caffrey.
And Ridge Road, I think, is what the corner is.
And this is, I went to Chase Bank in Abbeville, Louisiana to sign some documents. And when I saw this particular little card on the desk, I asked him if it was okay to take a picture. Your commitment is to our country. Our commitment is to you. That's pretty. And
so they have some special banking for veterans. That's very good.
For veterans, right.
And here you got a triple wide trailer. What you doing with a triple wide?
Well, I'll tell you what. That land right there, I owned a little over 6 acres, and I sold it to a family that is moving back from Colorado.
To where? And, where is this?
Big Cane, Louisiana. Highway, I think that's 107. And that was heavily populated with large trees. They've gone in there, they've cleared it, they've poured concrete, and they're not quite finished, but I had never seen a triple wide. Man. So it looks like they're very happy that they bought the land, and it makes me happy that they're happy, because you want all parties to be happy. Woo, a lot of happies there.
And then you're at the fishnet company.
Yep, I was on the way to Oak Grove, stopped in Jonesville to take a picture of this Champlin, because the gentleman from Jonesville that works with Stein Lumber in Natchez, Mississippi, that gave me all the tips about the Chaffalaya River, Mississippi River, talked about this. And of course, I couldn't find where the Crispy Crunchy home office was at that way back yonder when Mr. Jim Thornton with Worcester Oil had started it, and of course now it's owned by what's my buddy from Church Point, Neil.
I got Thornton.
But anyhow, y'all know who it is. Right. Now, Crispy Crunchy is all over the South. All over.
And I think you saw it as far north when you went to South Dakota, maybe?
Well, yeah, that's correct. Took pictures of it.
So, I mean, that's pretty far. Even though it's South Dakota, that's still the north.
They're moving out.
But Champlin, the Champlin family got all sorts of things in town.
They're the ones that started the nets. Right. And then one member broke away in that little blue building. And then this is the Catahoula Parish Courthouse building. Beautiful old building. It's probably built in the 30s, 40s, and but really pretty. And then Sweet Potato Research Station at LSU.
Go ahead.
And I want to mention that there's a lot more sweet potatoes grown up in that area than down here. St. Landry Parish has very little acreage, and Evangeline has some. Avoyelles has a good many acres being planted.
Did you sample any while you didn't dig any up to bring back?
The Evangelines are not ready yet, and I'm particular now. Once I ate the Evangelines from Earl and Larry Fontenot over at E&L Produce in Grand Prairie, I don't want none of them others. I'm joking.
You're in Winsboro here?
Winsboro.
Look at the size of that
Beautiful flag.
Oh.
Yep, that's what they have. We stopped and had a sandwich or something, and Vicky used a Wi-Fi connection, and we saw a sign in that. It said Winsboro is the home of the Stripes, and they had a flag. So I wonder what do they manufacture flags or what?
And there's Poverty Point.
Poverty Point. I've heard of Poverty Point over the years. I'm not quite as ancient as this. Poverty Point goes back 1,600 years before the birth of Christ. That's a good ways over there. And the young lady that you're going to see a picture of, Miss Jennifer Menge, M-E-N-G-E, who is a graduate of Tulane, I might add. Hello, Megan. And there she is right there. And she's from the East Coast. And I said, my daughter told me that a lot of students from the East Coast attend Tulane. She says, that's correct. But she says, I also noticed a lot from Chicago. You have any idea why Chicago? I said, nope, really don't. Anyhow, she gave us a little quick synopsis of what took place. She said there's another mound within about 2 miles of that. That's 3,000 years old, but apparently it doesn't have the mounds that you can visit, you know, study and research, and as a large of a acreage that this particular Poverty Point took up.
You know, here in the parish, over at my grandfather Tomas' old property, Tomas Stanford's on Catawba, there's still quite a bit. You can see where the old mounds were. When I was a kid, we'd go out there and we'd pick arrowheads and all on the farmland. So it's interesting how much, and of course, Opelousas itself is, the Indian Hills area here is all part of that type of thing as well.
That's correct. And then when we finally got to Oak Grove, we looked up and ran across I'm all the way on the right. Next to me is Bo Williford, the coach of the Raging Cajun Amateur Boxing Club. And then Brandon Arvey and Deidre Gohardy, and of course she's married now, and I don't know the last name, but she still goes by her professional boxing name. She was a world champion female boxer from Ireland. And then this young lady is Miss Martha Stevens, a brother of Mr. Clarence Cook, who was a high school boxing champion and then turned pro and became a very successful professional fighter for some period of time. And this is in Oak Grove, and she was doing everything. Thanks so much for taking such good care of everybody that attended the boxing matches. And they were actually had planned on trying to have a couple of MMA amateur fights, but it didn't mix in together according to the rules of the boxing club. She had talked to Buddy. And here's a story about Clarence Cook, her brother. And by the way, they're going to all be at the boxing reunion, which will be held on October 20th at Sunset, Louisiana. So if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, please do so. They've already taken care of that. And then I asked if anyone knew Clifton Gerald's, and they said yes. And they found a picture of Clifton Gerald, and I boxed him in 1951 when I was boxing at 100 pounds.
We're going to have to take a break. We'll come back after a 1-minute break
and talk a little bit more. Got a few more pictures.